Hello and welcome back to another Josh and Eliza.
On Friday. I took it up that time. I had to.
One must. Welcome back. We are going to continue our exploration of the vowel space. And as promised, we will be introducing that much discussed third ingredient in the vowel recipe.
It's a magic ingredient.
My favorite. I gotta be honest, my favorite. So let's take a look at our vowel quadrilateral and just quickly remind ourselves of our sort of X and Y axis. So this X axis is going to be plotting what part of the tongue is really creating the shape, either an arch, which happens in, let me get a little color here, arch that happens in this top half, or a cup that happens in the bottom half. What part of the surface of the body of the tongue? Is it the front part, the central part, or the back? All right. And Josh, do you want to catch us up on the y-axis?
Yeah, so we have on this chart 4 distinct lines, all the way open, open mid, and close. And that's telling us how much arching or cupping we are doing. Getting really close to the roof of the mouth or opening further away from the roof of the mouth. And the parts of the roof of the mouth that we discussed as being our points to kind of mark where this happens was the hard palate in the front, so that bony part of the roof of the mouth, going back to the velum, or the soft palate, in the back.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we are going to introduce a third piece of information that you can take from any vowel that is plotted on this vowel quadrilateral. And that third piece of information, or third ingredient, is going to be whether the vowel is rounded or unrounded. And that has to do with the corners of the lips.
Yes. Yeah.
So Josh and I will both now model what it looks like to have a lip rounded vowel. Yeah.
And there are degrees of that movement. So it could be very gently rounded, very slight movement, or I could round quite a lot. Right? So as much movement as I could do.
Indeed. An unrounded vowel is one where the lip corners are not collected forward, collected inward. They're relaxed, and there is some sort of, like, let's subjectivity to that term, relaxed. But we'll get into it. You'll see what we mean. It's going to be that sort of feeling of not engaging the ring of muscle here, that the ring of muscle that is the lips. So I feel like we've just done a lot, but right down here at the bottom, the International Phonetic Association has given us the directive that they're going to give us symbols, which you can't see on this quadrilateral, but that if there is more than one symbol, so the symbol is going to be, the symbols will appear in pairs. The one to the right represents a rounded vowel. And the way you'll see that on the quadrilateral is that they'll put it to the right of the point. We're looking at these black dots here. And I'm going to create a cloud of vowelness to the right of this point in blue. That's my vowel cloud.
I love it.
I will create a vowel cloud to the left of this point with yellow, and that is an unrounded, simply because the IPA puts it to the left of the point, right? Great, great. Oh, we talked about the spatial on the spatial relationship of these two on the quadrilateral. But Josh, in reality,
Yeah.
these two vowels, when we make them, which we're about to,
Mhm.
do they happen in different places in the mouth?
No, so the tongue is at the exact same point, right? The tongue is still moving, it's arching very close to the hard palate in the front of the mouth. And the front of the body of the tongue is the part of the tongue doing the arching. So the tongue stays in the exact same position, but we hear a different vowel when the lips change what they're doing because we changed the length that the sound has to travel through in the mouth. So it changes the quality of the sound. And when we do these two, we will maybe reference languages that they are found in. But just for the sake of putting it out there, this chart represents all vowel possibilities, right? And so these two vowels may not necessarily be found in the same language, even though they're made at the same point in the mouth.
Mm-hmm. And now, without upsetting our watchers, our YouTube followers too much, I'm going to attempt some very bad art where I sort of draw the surface of what the tongue might be doing inside the vowel space for these vowels. So the root of the tongue, remember again, this is inside the mouth, right? So the tongue is gonna, the root, the very, very back of the tongue is gonna be somewhere around here. And the dorsum itself is probably, oh, come here now. The dorsum itself is, oh wow, it won't let me draw.
And it did it as you said it. I love
I
that.
feel like your technology not to get you. Okay, so the back of the dorsum is down there.
Mhm.
It's gonna be pretty low. And then the surface of the dorsum is maybe just moving up, so that the front of that dorsum, front of the body of the tongue, gets to about here. Oh my God, my technology is really out to get me today. Gets to about here and is gonna make an arch. There you go. There you go. So that's the kind of surface of the tongue. The tip of the tongue is probably, this is the blade, and this is the tip down here. There you go. There's the tip of the tongue. Then the tongue will come back down here and connect to the bottom of the mouth.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So that's what we're looking at. That arch up through there.
Great.
Yeah.
So we have a front close sound that could be unrounded or rounded.
Should we get into it?
Sure.
Yeah, we talked a lot about it. We've drawn it. Let's make it. Let's make it.
Make the sound. So which one do we want to do first? Yellow or blue?
Let's start unrounded and then introduce lip rounding. So the first thing that Josh and I are both going to do is we're going to, for your benefit, sort of show you exactly what the front of the dorsum is. So we can point to it, or I like to kind of scrape it with the surface with my teeth. And then that part of the tongue inside the mouth is going to arch as high as it can toward that front of the palate. And let's send some sound over. E,
E, E,
E, E, E. Beautiful. Good.
E.
Now you both saw that Josh and I have our lip corners are even pretty retracted, pretty spread here. They can be very relaxed. They can just be E, E.
E.
And again, it's all about the arch in the front of the body of the tongue. Let's introduce some lip rounding. E, E, E,
U, E, U, E, U, U,
U, U, U.
U.
Fantastic. You can see even between Josh and myself, there's a difference. So in how much rounding, right? But both of those are considered this vowel right here. You know, there's diacritics. You can talk about how much rounding, but e, e, e.
U.
There you go. Cool. Cool. Here we are. We've done it. Done it. Should we do some more?
Let's do some more. That pair was quite a lot of fun.
Where in the quadrilateral would you like to finish next? I mean, would you like to go next?
Well, why don't we stay close, and
Mhm.
why don't we jump to the back line just to see what happens if we use the back of the tongue at the soft palate instead.
I love it. I love it. And
Still
we're
arch.
very, and we're very purposefully not using symbols yet. We're just talking about, you know, where you might find a symbol that would tell you how to, you know, do this recipe for vowels. Should we start unrounded?
Yeah.
Or this time, would you prefer to start with rounding?
Well, let's start with rounding first, actually, this time. And to be completely transparent with you all, it's because the rounded version back here is the one that is more familiar to me in my idiolect and my first language, the languages that I play in. So it's easier to find. So we're going to find the rounded one first and then use that to kind of move into the unrounded version, which is much less familiar to me. So we've still got a close sound, so we're arching, but this time it's a different part of the body of the tongue doing the arching. So it's the back of the body of the tongue.
And without, again, upsetting you too much, the surface of the tongue in the back, the sides will probably kind of scoot in to help that surface of the tongue get very high in the back. You might be dealing with something that looks like this. And then probably the rest of the surface of the tongue just continues to sort of go down. Like that. So creating that shape of the surface, getting that lip corner rounding, sounds like.
Ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh.
Gorgeous. Shall we now relax that lip corner rounding?
Actually, before we do that,
Yeah.
just for the sake of asking the question, what's a good way to know if I'm arching close? How can I learn how to feel that I'm arching close to the roof of my mouth if I don't know how to hear the sound yet?
Excellent. Because close is as close as you can get the surface of the tongue without making contact. Great way to feel the difference in your vowel space in your oral cavity is to make contact.
Amazing.
So I might invite maybe bringing the back of the dorsum up to that velum and then releasing it down like this. Go.
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 And then just letting it hang out. Go.
Go. Go. Go.
Go. Ooh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a great trick.
Yeah, I love that trick. Which
Now
is,
that
I feel like a life lesson sometimes. Like, in order to discover how to do the thing, you have to do the thing you're not trying to do. And then release. Who knew?
the metaphors.
Who knew? to use the vowel we just explored. Who knew?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Just dropping life wisdom bombs. Now that we have discovered this close back rounded vowel, shall we slide from the rounded vowel into the unrounded pair?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, 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 ooh,
Uh,
ooh,
uh,
ooh, ooh,
uh,
ooh,
uh.
ooh.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you watching and hopefully doing it with us, we're purposefully leaving some space before we model. We're purposefully sort of inviting you to put these pieces together on your own and be surprised by what comes out. If you very clever people have doubts about, wait a minute, that sound, I don't think that sound is in English, you could be right. Because remember, again, this is the space for all the vowels. So in a moment, Josh and I might talk about vowels that belong to a language, specific language, English. But until then, we're just exploring vowel possibilities. So if you hear something that's not in English, do not be alarmed. All right, all right. Josh, what do we explore next?
Sure. Well, why don't we like just do an extreme and go all the way to the other side of the chart and go all the way open?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. Should we stay in the back?
Yeah, let's stay in the back.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Cool, cool, cool. Let's also stay rounded. All right. So again, the surface of the back of the dorsum is going to be dropped. The term is cupped. For me, inside of my own body, it feels like I'm just pulling it all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You want another crude drawing?
Yes,
I got you. So here's the root of the tongue is all the way back here. Here's the back of the dorsum, and then probably the rest of the body of the tongue is here. Mmm, delicious. Lip corners rounded. Oh, oh,
oh,
oh.
oh.
Beautiful. Shall we slide into that cloud?
Yes, please.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh, oh, oh,
oh,
oh,
oh, oh, oh,
oh.
oh.
Oh, sorry, I went to a different vowel. So watch me sort of like.
So just again to ask the question before we move on, we had with arching the ability to touch the roof of the mouth and then drop down to like discover that close space. But is there a similar like anatomy marker or something to help me feel if I'm cupping? If I don't know how to hear the sound yet and know if I'm cupping the right amount?
I have a tool that I use, but I'm curious if you have a tool, because I know mine is polarizing. Mine
Well, my tool is there are two depending on who you are and what you like to do. The one is to just make the cup using this. And I just put my finger on the surface of the tongue, my clean hands, they're clean.
Yes. Your hands will be washed, of course, yes.
Right? And I just, right? And you shouldn't trigger your gag reflex because we're not going so far back on the tongue that you are triggering a gag reflex. We're on the dorsum of the tongue, the body of the tongue. So that's one thing, right?
If you are a person with a very sensitive gag reflex, go with caution.
So the second tool is a small mint, or if you don't like mints, perhaps something like a small piece of fruit. In the Knight Thompson community, we use blueberries.
Blueberries. I'm a huge fan of the blueberry. I think the blueberry is great. I always, if you are a person who responds to tactile teaching tools, use an actual mint, use a blueberry. If you're a person that responds to imagery, perhaps all you need to do is suggest to yourself that there's a blueberry or a mint. Kind of imagine a blueberry or mint on the back of your tongue. And some people do that. That's the best way. I myself, I feel the sides of my tongue kind of automatically cup up around that imaginary blueberry. That's my brain just really loves the image. But again, everybody is wired differently and uniquely. So find the tool that works for you. Yeah. All right. Listen, we've gone so far. Should we hit the last two?
Let's do it.
Extremes? I love it. I love it. I tell you what, let's start here. So the front of the dorsum will be as low as can be. We might even relax the jaw and to allow for that front of the dorsum to get as low as possible. And the lip corners are unrounded. The idea I like to work with is if you're at the doctor and the doctor is using a tongue depressor so that the surface of the dorsum responds, again, our image, to a tongue depressor. Yes, yes. Beautiful. And before you say anything, and before you think to yourself, perhaps, isn't that the same sound that we just heard? Isn't that the same as if your brain is telling you that it's the same, that's probably because in the languages that you use, there doesn't need to be a difference. Those two sounds don't change the meaning. And that's okay. That's okay. But if you listen carefully, they feel, if you listen carefully, they feel different. If you feel carefully, you'll notice that they definitely do take different shapes to create. And they do sound different if you really sit with them. All right, cool, cool, cool.
Shall we do its partner now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Mm-hmm.
There it is.
There it is.
Beautiful. Now, thank you for exploring the edges of the space with us. Again, your brain is, I know, looking for the useful piece here. What is the takeaway? You're hungry for a prioritized piece of information.
But which ones are English? Right?
And if this is what your brain is hungry for, we regret to inform you that this is a broader, we're here to talk about the kind of rules of the quadrilateral, because those will actually deliver to you the power to create distinction between vowels, and that's what's really going to serve you.
Yeah.
But okay, well,
okay. All right. We'll tell
right.
you. We'll show you a few.
Doesn't here. Of the places we just explored, three spots we just explored are in the American accent of English, and so we will share those with you.
And that's an important distinction because the American accented English distinction, because, for example, those open back vowels, Both of those show up in other varieties of English dialects, but not in American English. So
some regional, yeah.
Yeah. Now that we
To be clear, we're trying to be straightforward with you here.
Yeah.
We're going with this one, the one you hear in Josh and me.
That is a topic for another video. Several other videos. American regional variations, which are delicious.
All right. Okay. We shall share these. We shall share these with you. So this one, if we've taken these images from the we've taken these images from the app. Where does it go?
E.
Right here. You guessed right.
Beautiful. Honey bee.
Honey bee.
Mm.
Honey bee. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna let you guess where that next one might go. Any guesses? Any thoughts?
Ooh. Ooh. Yes. I know you guessed right.
Good job. And for that one person that didn't, surprise, right? Fun. New information.
New information.
New information. How about that?
Ooh.
And last. Well, there it is.
Ah.
There it is. Ah. And look at Josh's face as they make that.
Ah.
In the American accent of English, it's an unrounded ah. Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Well done, everyone. I think for today, this is as much as we want to explore. We again, thank you for being patient. Thank you for waiting for these sort of ingredients, not even knowing how they're going to mix together and help you in your pronunciation. We promise that this understanding of the fundamentals is going to speed up your learning process and make confident speech that much more attainable. Yeah, but you know, it's slow going at first.
Yeah, it is. You know, when you're trying to figure out individual ingredients and what they mean for muscle movements, it takes time. A little bit of daily practice goes a long way.
And if you are hungry for these phonemes, these vowel sounds, we recommend checking out your BoldVoice app and taking a look at the library. There are a full list of the sounds that are found in the American accent that the app is teaching you. So you can look at them sound by sound, practice them. There's descriptions of them. You can practice them in that way if that's how your brain likes to learn. And as always, if you have questions, thoughts, burning desires for other topics to be covered in these videos, please let us know in the comments and we will strive to make the videos that you want to see.